Hello everyone, welcome to my final impressions of Zoombinis? Yes, Zoombinis, that game you played as a kid in grade school. So what is it? Well, it's a logical puzzle game, mainly aimed at children. I never thought I'd be doing a video on this, so there have been updates and iterations of this game. Nothing really too visual or not too much like in-game programming-wise, like not new puzzles or anything. More like just updates so it runs on newer operating systems. Zoombinis is a very old game. So, recently, it was put on Steam. Now, a lot of developers, and actually I should say publishers, like to dump their back catalog on Steam, put on absolute dreck with no effort into them to even run on newer operating systems. Some of them don't even work properly. Most of them don't even work right. But this game's a little different. So they've actually kind of, this is probably the biggest update they've ever done since, actually making the game, which is actually adding new assets and redoing the audio and the music and just upping it and making everything better. So you notice it's in 16 by 9. It's running on Windows 10 right now just fine without crashing. And it's got these nicer, higher res backgrounds, which are actually quite nice for what they are. Fit the aesthetic really nicely. So, Zoombinis. I remember playing this game a long time ago. I believe it was in 5th grade, and I actually beat the game. Got all my Zoombinis to the final island, and it was a huge thing for me because what would happen is we were only allowed to play Zoombinis if we were on the computers and if we had done all our other work. So I would always rush to do my work and get it done first so I can play Zoombinis. The problem was we didn't have passwords for our PC. We didn't have our own accounts on the on our XP computers. So we had to share computers, and oftentimes we had to use people's different files. And sometimes if someone was using your Zoombinis file and they were on your computer that you primarily played Zoombinis on, tough luck. You have to restart and do. So basically, I had a Zoombinis, at least one Zoombinis file on almost like every computer. So slowly I was building it up, and then I think one day I got on my. I had a lot of extra time. Got on that computer that I played the Zoombinis the most on, and beat the game. I was so proud of myself. My parents still weren't, because I didn't get too good grades because I was focused on rushing my work instead of playing Zoombinis. Parents are still not proud of me because I'm still playing Zoombinis to this day. Anyway, let's get into it. Alright, so in the game you create these little Zoombinis, and you can... Now you're going to think like, oh, this is this little character creation. It looks purely aesthetic. No, this is actually a huge part of the game. So, Zoombinis is actually an allegory for racism and segregation in our society. And you're going to find out why. This just got dark for a kid's game. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to create... What I used to do is a kind of cheat. So we're going to create multiple Zoombinis right here. And you're going to notice that they have similar features minus the hair for now. Now we have to create 16. So what this does, I'm kind of cheating here, but I'm just kind of giving you a point. So what this does, it allows you to, at least for kids, this is like, if your child is actually a genius, he'll be able to do this and then cheat his way through Zoombinis. So they all have similar features. Now this game is all about logic, so certain Zoombinis, and we'll actually get into this. Should we actually get into this now? I better show than to tell. Let's actually just add a few. Random. Okay, we're good. Everyone remembers that music. Oh yes, it's a beautiful sound. Sound of progress. They got the original narrator too. Well, at least the original narrator audio files. It still sounds very compressed, like I remembered it. It's probably to do with the microphone, maybe. It was probably a low-budget mic. Although if they could get the original audio files and encode them properly with a newer codec, that would kind of be nice. This game actually runs at 60 frames per second, which is kind of more than I can say for most games. This is a really ancient game. So, alright, so you're about to find out what Zoom is. So we have two paths here, two of these heads right here. So let's just demonstrate if... Alright, they're through. I'm actually going to make an intentional mistake here. Alright. So here's how Zoombinis works. So it depends. They pass a lot of these Zoombinis, depending on the puzzle, of course, because sometimes it's a little bit different later on. They pass these areas depending on what they look like. So certain, again, it's an allegory for racism in our society. So we have these stoneheads. Now, why was he rejected? Well, maybe because this stonehead doesn't like a certain type of hat, a certain type of hair, or maybe it's because wheels, nose, eyes. So it's one of those three. But this is assuming surely to get through over here, because there's only two possible outcomes. Getting over here or getting over here. So let's see if it's wheels. Actually, we all have wheels, so it's fine. So this one, it could be... So this is all about... It's all about figuring the logic behind everything. You get a bunch of tries before it starts, like... So you have to get past these certain checkpoints in the game that require, like, a certain amount of Zoombinis. I believe 16 usually, or... It might be more, because, and we'll get into that later. Okay, so it might be eyes. It's eyes, yeah, see? So yeah, some characters can get through, other characters, you know, you're gonna have to choose a different path. But it's pretty straightforward, right? This is the first puzzle of the game, nothing too hard. And also I made it intentionally easy. You can't progress, like you can't go to the map system and make sure you hit this though, because if you leave, you'll take all these guys with you and you leave these guys behind. There's a map system where there's a map, not a map system. There's a map that'll show you the entire world and where you can like kind of hop around to. And there's a checkpoint in the game later. Now it's auto saves as far as I can tell. As long, yeah, after you put the Zoombinis in these checkpoints, it will auto save them for you. There's something like 420 Zoombinis or 620 different combinations, something like that, and I heard someone get all of them to the Zoombini Paradise, which is insane. Okay, so this tree doesn't like the two-eyed people. Or maybe it's this one, or maybe this one's just accepting of the one-eyed people, you know. Again, allegory for discrimination. Okay. Now this next part, this part was, this was the bane of everyone in my class's existence.
These stone guards have their rules.
Oh, not this one, sorry.
So do.
Cute little pebbles, aren't they?
They're back!
Sometimes they say stuff different things each time. Now, as you get higher difficulties, there will be, it just gets a little bit trickier. So I think that's as you beat the game, it's, like more situations occur. So usually you only have to, let's actually try it out now. Alright, so he's rejecting him, but he's not. So you can put him right, or her, whatever. I don't know if these things are asexual. Right here. Is asexual gender? I don't know. Anyway. So he's rejecting. He will reject Zoombinis from both sides here, so you have to choose one of these. Again, it's very simple stuff.
Well, why not?
I just want to get to the checkpoint to show you what that's about. Generally, it's a very good children's logic game. It'll teach your child a lot about logic.
Go on.
And for people like me, it's a nice trip down memory lane. It's $10 on Steam right now. Actually, it's $7.50 if you get it within launch week. Alright, I should start to figure out the logic here. So,
Okay.
Don't be shy.
now later on in the game, it'll have like right now it's only between these two, but like when it's higher difficulties, it'll do between the four. Which can be a little bit frustrating. Actually, what is the difference between... So, is it like that kind of hairstyle?
Step right
Oh,
up.
this is easy.
Okay.
Have a good time.
So it's the hair, actually.
Enjoy
Okay.
yourself. Enjoy
Okay.
yourself.
Sure.
Step right up.
Now, you don't have to... Now, your mistakes don't really carry over, so, like, your mistake count resets. I'm not sure exactly how many times you can screw up until they start picking you.
Delightful.
And so our brave travelers continue
Here we go.
on through this
Everyone
dusty
remembers this guy.
wasteland until they meet Arno, the almost omnivorous, one very hungry
The
pizza
worst.
troll.
Everyone remembers this. Oh, God.
Clean Queens? Whatever you are, make me a pizza!
So this one's actually not based on the Zoombinis' appearance, because this guy is equal opportunities for everyone. He gives them a chance to prove their worth. Very good member of society. Anyway, so you just gotta make one of these pizzas. Now, I usually start off with plain just in case you might like that from the start.
Come on! More stuff!
So he'll have two piles. One is the accepted piles, and one is the rejected. So the game does an interesting job of keeping track of what, you can. Sorry, let me try it again. The game does a really good job of telling you and really keeping track for you of like what works and what doesn't. Usually, what does. In this case, it does both what does and what doesn't. So we'll throw the rejected pizzas here. It's a really good game for a child, I would say. It's a very well designed game. It's the reason why it's been being resold for over a decade.
Something on that I don't like.
Now, what I used to do is I was an idiot in grade school. I would just pile on pizza toppings and be like, I don't know what to do. And then I realized I should just do it one at a time. Again, there is a lot of trial and error in this game. But you'll probably be able to fill out the logic before you start getting, losing actual Zoombinis. You also get the soundtrack, digital wallpapers, mobile ringtones, and a digital poster when you buy the game, which is kind of nice. I do like that. I do think the music is... I'm actually not thinking here. The music is mixed up this time around. It's a little bit better than what I remember. It's not compressed.
The perfect pizza!
Now in the more difficult letters, you have like 2 or 3 people judging pizzas, so you have to find out like which I think you have to get like a pizza for everyone that everyone likes, like a combined one, or it's either that or you have to satisfy each one, but like I'm trying to remember what it was, but I think you have to make one that everyone will enjoy at once.
Hold on.
Okay.
What's this? A campsite with hot soup all ready to eat? Looks like a fine place for Zoombinis to relax.
So this is a checkpoint. You put your Zoombinis in here and it'll save the game up for you.
They'll need a group of 16 along the path.
So you need 16 here. What's nice about this game is that let's say you lost some, you can save them in here. Like let's say you just lost one, you can redo the game and then like only put one down here with the 15 you had from before, and store the rest in here so you don't have to keep. You don't have to. You can still make a couple of mistakes because everything just kind of rolls over, which I do like. And here's the map system. There's no options on really good options here, unfortunately. There's just background music and dialogue and sound effects that you can just toggle. Spanish language, I do recall that actually and you can change the user. My profile saves. Unfortunately, there's also an issue where if you go, like, let's say I click off the monitor, it'll do that. Yeah, that's not pleasant exactly. There's also a practice mode. Try these out. Again, these are all the difficulties. You start off, you're locked to not so easy, and you have the map here. And it keeps track of how many Zoombinis you've moved, and then how many possible combinations you have left. So yeah, so that's what, 400 possible combinations, I believe? Something like that. So yeah, your whole goal is to move them to this end game, and when you do, I don't know what happens if you get all 400. You're kind of you're just dedicated at that point. I was gonna say genius, but it is a kid's game. Maybe your child's dedicated and good at what he does, especially if you do it on very hard. But anyway, that's Zoombinis for you. It's a nice little trip. I really like how they re-released it, and they didn't just plop it on, plop code on just plop code on Steam. They actually just, they did a little bit of fixing up the audio here and there, made the animations a little bit smoother to run on modern operating systems. Game runs at 60. It's nice. I can recommend this to any parent who wants to improve their child's learning experience. Yeah. Alright guys, I'll see you next time.